I want to add one thing because I touched on it briefly, but in that book, it talks so much about the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So this country was founded, our founders was a mastermind, basically. You had the top most brilliant action-oriented people that said, hey, we want to try a new experiment where we give all the power to the people. And we aren't the Church of England and we aren't the country of England. And we want to put that power in the hands of the people. Your tribe is everything. You want to hang out and be a broke person, hang out with broke people. You want to be drunk all the time, hang out with people hanging out at the bars all the time. But if you don't want those things, right? If you want a great family and fortune and freedom and fitness, hang out with those people. And you intuitively know that, but I have another tool we created is the tribe tracker, because I was intuitively thinking about that. I'm like, oh man, I really want to be around those people. But I was like, I'm not actually tracking that. Like, who am I spending the most time with? And I'll tell you why this was important. I was like 30 pounds heavier than I am now. And I'm like, why is that? Why am I so pudgy? And I realized I'm hanging out with people that are never working out. We're drinking more than we should. We're eating these huge meals. And I was like, I don't want that for my life and my fitness pillar. How do I track being around people that are like a Marcus? Hey, let's go on a hike. I'm like, sweet. I want to hang out with you and go on a hike. So I think that tribe piece, as you're young, don't be flippant about that. You can still have your high school friends that you hang out with on occasion, but if they're not going down the same path of what you want in life, you need to start curating the right people around you that want the same things and that will call you out. I mean, my brothers I'm one of 8, they're the first ones to be like, man, you are looking kind of pudgy, Chris. Like you ought to probably start working out more. And I'm like, you're right. It's time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. I agree. That's something that at the beginning of the year when me and Paula sat down and had that eval, that was one of the aspects, because she always says, you are the 5 people you surround yourself with.
She's a wise woman.
She is. She needs to come on here one of these days.
Golly.
So yeah, and it's finding the correct words to say or how to navigate that, because there are still going to be some of those people in your life that have been in there for years, and you don't want to just be like, yep, bye, never talking to you again, but also focusing on those iron sharpens iron people.
Yeah. And I agree with that. You've got to be so kind. This is not hey, see ya. You were my old friends. That's not this approach at all.
Yeah.
But you get one life. We all get one life. And we know the people that were like, hey, we should probably be like hanging out with them every 6 months, not every week, kind of type of thing, and be really diligent and calling people up, not out. I think, hey, some people that you're like, hey, our standards are higher. What's going on? What's happening here? Like, I love you and I want better for you. But yeah, I agree with that.
Do you consider yourself, because you're later 20s now, have you gone through those specific phases of like, you have your old friends and it's kind of like, it's kind of the separation is starting to take place where and maybe this has already taken place for you, but I know for me personally, like I lost a good deal of friends when I was on fire, man, just to hit my dreams and my goals. And some of them went a different way. Some of them talked crap about me behind my back. Some of them loyal and just like such big champions, but had all those different types of, people in my inner circle that kind of diverged or stuck with or whatever. Have you had that moment?
Yeah. I mean, everyone that were my buddies back in high school, I don't really talk to any of them anymore. College was a blur for me. Same story there. I think I have two buddies in my life that have been fairly consistent, and it's because they themselves are business owners. One has a faith, the other one I'm trying to work with him on it. And but even then, it's like, okay, so we have 2 out of the 3 commonalities that I'm wanting to be around, but not the whole pie. And so something, I don't know if you struggle with this or maybe you too, something I struggle with is finding those people, and it feels like they latch onto you, and trying to still have somewhat of a relationship of depth with them, because it feels like you're reaching out more to them, or you're helping them, or you're always on them. And not the other way around. And there needs to be that balance. So to answer your question in a very roundabout way, yes, I've seen people drop off all the time. And there's really only a couple that stick with me, but that's fine because I know when something hits the fan, those are the people that I can count on to come help me, and me for them too.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And then like you said, like those friends that say that latch onto you and maybe they're just like, you're a strong force for them, And I've had many times in my life where I've had a really big heart and people have latched onto me, and some of them in not the best ways. And I've found myself being kind of codependent to them, right? And just like helping them because I feel like I'm the nurturer in that situation. And then they screwed me over in X, Y, and Z or whatever it might have been. But the truth of that is like someone like you who's a strong personality, who's probably got a really big heart. I'm sensing that from you is don't ever let that slight your heart, man. Like ever. Like always continue to have a really big open heart. Have your boundaries up and like know when, it's a little too far or whatever, but don't lose that heart because that heart is the driver of your business without a doubt. And so that's just advice from me to you. Someone, who's gone through something like that, that's similar, that's gone through a bunch of heartache, but like, I know that like, I want to keep my big heart intact because I know how it affects people in such a positive way. And that's one of my favorite parts about myself personally is like, I still have that despite all the things. Right.
Yeah.
And so like, I wish that upon you and pray that upon you, man, for sure.
Appreciate it.
I think another kind of principle that we don't like to acknowledge is every relationship has an expiration date. It's just the length of the season. And we always want to be like, oh, we're going to be together forever. We're going to be friends forever. We're going to be partners forever. Number one, we all die, right? So every relationship has an expiration date. A lot of times we don't get to choose that expiration date. Sometimes we do, but that's a natural thing, right? We should expect there's going to be people that had a huge impact in our lives that came and they were there for 3 years and then they moved or, something else happened. And I think instead of celebrating that and being like, man, I'm so thankful that they were in my life, we harbor this like, why aren't they still in it? Why didn't it last longer? Instead of just being like, thank you, God, and release that relationship. It happened and it was great. There's people that I thought we were going to be in business with for 20 years that I haven't even talked to in 2 years. And that's a good thing, right? They were on their path and we were on our path and we started diverging. And for me, as soon as I released that, and even just with our family, my grandma passed away a few months ago. She was one of the most important people in my life, but it was the most beautiful passing because I knew she has an expiration date. All of us do. And we were able to just glory and enjoy the time as she was getting closer to her passing. And she loved Jesus, so I know where she is. But that for me was just like a much easier release because I'm like, I love you. I want you to go where you need to go. And thank you for the time. And I knew that our time was limited. All of our times are limited.
Yeah. That struck something inside of me. That's something that I forgot to talk about in this growth journey. So my grandpa passed away in 2024. My best friend, my biggest cheerleader, And I got the call that he was going and he wasn't talking to anyone or anything like that. And so I hopped right in the car and I went straight to Albuquerque. He lived in Albuquerque. I got there and I started talking with him. And and I told him, I was like, Papa, my life is going to crap. Like, I don't know what to do. I feel lost. My company is not great. Like, all the stuff that I had done is falling apart. My relationship is falling apart. I mean, my fault, her fault, however you want to slice it up. And he said, number one, you built that company. You got too arrogant, but you need to not let that company go. So you need to get back there and fix it. And the same with your relationship. Get back there and fix it. And so the relationship turned into a marriage and the company is where it's at. But anytime I feel like it's tough, I think about him because he was, all those rough nights of working till midnight because people didn't show up or whatever. That's who I called, he'd get me through it. So, but to your point, when he went a couple of days later, I knew where he was going and it was okay. Do I still miss him? Of course. but I know where he is, and I enjoyed that relationship for the time that I had with it, you know?
And what a blessing to have had that.